Now that we've talked about how to read a comic, I thought I'd share with you a couple of my favorite ones for elementary students. This first one here is called Robot Dreams, and it actually has no words in it. I think pretty much anybody could read it. And it's a story about a dog who builds a robot, and it sounds very simple, but it's also about relationships and things, because the robot gets rusty when they go to the beach, and the dog kind of leaves him there and forgets about him, and then goes on and makes another robot. Somebody finds this robot, and they rebuild them, and it's a lot more interesting and moving than I'm making it sound, but it's a really good book, and I recommend you read it. This here is the first volume of Astronaut Academy, and it's a series. I believe there's 2 books right now and a third one on the way. It's also a web comic. It's about a school in outer space, and it's pretty funny. There's security guards that are panda bears. There's this video game type Olympics that they play, and it's just a really funny book that I think is full of interesting and entertaining characters. Amulet is one of the more popular series. It's a fantasy series. It's about a couple of kids that, after their father dies, which I know is a spoiler, but it happens in like the first 10 pages, they go to live in their grandfather's house, but he's been missing mysteriously for some decades. But they find a portal to another world, and they have adventures, and they find that some people they thought were dead are actually not dead. And there's lots of intrigue and action. There's 5 or 6 of these books at this point, and it's also a series, obviously. And at some point they were talking about making it a film series with Will Smith, that's the guy's name, his kids starring, but I don't know where that is right now. But there's this book, and it's really interesting. The art is fun, and it's very engaging. This is not the most academic of books, but it entertains me, and I think a lot of kids find it funny. Fangbone is about a barbarian from another universe. He's a kid barbarian, and he leaves his dimension to come to ours because there's this bone from this evil sorcerer that his minions are trying to put his body back together so that he can take over the universe. So Fangbone comes here with that toe, and he ends up in the 3rd grade special class. And I think it's pretty funny. It's hilarious. I love how he interacts with the students, and he's very literal, which makes for a lot of comedy. And it's a really interesting book, and hilarious book, so you should read it. Dim Sum Warriors, this is the physical copy. There's also an electronic copy of this. And this is also a series of adventures that if you get the electronic copies, I think on iPad, you can go back and forth from English to Mandarin, and it's supposed to teach young people both languages to some degree. The story is about a kingdom where dumplings they're alive, and they practice kung fu, and they have different families. And the bad guy is a bowl of ramen noodles. He is actually Colonel Quickie Noodle. It's pretty funny. It's full of adventure, and it's also the characters are more well defined than silly. So I recommend this highly, especially if you like kung fu or Asian food. And while we're talking about food, this book, Lunch Lady, is also the first in a series. It's about a lunch lady in an elementary school cafeteria, and she has all these amazing gadgets and goes on adventures where she fights numerous villains. There are multiple volumes in this series. I think there's something around 10 right now, and they all deal with seemingly mundane things that happen in schools, but they're pretty funny. And at some point they were going to make this a movie too, with I think Amy Poehler. So that may happen. It may not happen. In any case, there's a lot of these books, and a lot of the kids I know and really enjoy them. Fairy Tale Comics is an anthology of a number of fairy tales drawn by a lot of different artists, and they're high talent artists. I really enjoyed this book because, I don't know, the artwork is pretty incredible, and I really like the range of stories in here. There's also, from the same editor, Chris Duffy, a couple other books. There's a nursery rhymes one and another one that's coming out pretty soon that I can't remember what it's about, but he makes some really good comics, or he gets people together that make really good comics. So if you're ever teaching fairy tales, there's lots of great examples of ones in here. Thank You to Space Cat is, it's also a humorous book. It's about a cat who thinks he's from outer space. He has adventures. He may actually be from outer space. Once you read the book, you kind of, I don't know, it blurs the line between fantasy and fiction, but it's really sweet and funny. And if you like cats or you like fart jokes, this book is full of both. If you'd rather look for some books with a little bit of content in them, this Leo Geo series by John Chad, there's two of them. They're very attractive and they're very entertaining, and I really like how they work. This book, as you can tell from the orientation, it's horizontal, but you actually have to manipulate the book and flip it, as depending on whether he's going down into the center of the earth or digging back up. So it's a pretty fascinating book. It's got lots of science puns. It's actually got a lot of science knowledge. It's also got a bunch of fantasy elements, like about the people who are living in the center of the earth. But it was really entertaining. His other book is about outer space, and it's also very good. So if you like science and you want to introduce it into your elementary school as much as you can, Leo Geo by John Chad. He's your guy. And finally, Rapunzel's Revenge is the first of two books. The other one's called Calamity Jack, about fairy tales that have been transposed to the American Southwest. This Rapunzel does not just sit up in a tower. She actually uses her hair like a lasso, and she's a pretty capable, cow person, who's trying to fight against her evil stepmother. It's a really good book. The art is great, and I really like the action sequences. I like how they translate the fairy tales into a different setting, and I think that it is very engaging for a lot of readers. So that's my list. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a good day.